Hello students and welcome in today's session. Today we are going to study about Hardy-Weinberg Principle. Now what is Hardy-Weinberg Principle? It says that the allele frequency in the population will remain constant generation after generation. See, once again, whatever the allele frequency is there, it will remain constant generation after generation. This is proved with the equation that p square plus 2pq plus q square is equal to 1. Now this equation is there, the value may be anything, but it always comes sum total is a 1. Now what is mean by p square, what is mean by 2pq and what is mean by q square, right? Now you know that in any allele there are two traits. One is dominant and another is a recessive. So p square is the homozygous dominant, means capital T, right? 2pq means heterozygous genotype. Capital T and small t is there, that is heterozygous. So that is 2pq, 2 times p and q comes, that is heterozygous, and q automatically it is a recessive, and both are of QQ, that's why it is a homozygous recessive genotype. So homozygous dominant PP and PQ plus PQ, that's why 2PQ, so this is heterozygous genotype, and QQ means homozygous recessive genotype. You just take an example. In maths, you must have studied a plus b bracket square. So whenever you solve this bracket, you are getting a square plus 2ab plus b square. But here in case of traits, dominant trait is there, capital T. Whenever it is crossed with the small trait, recessive trait, that is small t, then all will comes the heterozygous, that is capital T, small t, and whenever it is selfed, then we are getting result 3:1, and in that 3:1 genotypically if you will see capital T 1, capital T small t 2 and small t 1. So this is capital T 1, capital T small t 2 and small t 1. So this is the traits, homozygous dominant, heterozygous, and this is homozygous recessive. In any population, the traits will occur in these three forms, right? Either it will be a dominant, homozygous dominant, either it will be a homozygous recessive, or it will be a heterozygous. So what the Hardy-Weinberg says that if you take the percentage of all these, then suppose the homozygous dominant is 0.4%, heterozygous is there, that is also 0.4%, then recessive is there, it will be 0.2%, and this all together 0.4 plus 0.4 plus 0.2 gives 1. So now this percentage is there, or this trait is there may change amount. Maybe after some time in one of the population, dominant trait will be 0.1%, heterozygous trait may be 0.5%, and homozygous recessive trait may be 0.4%, but this all total will be always 1. This is what a Hardy-Weinberg principle. It says that the allele is there, allele's frequency is there, it will be always remain constant in any population, and it will be 1. So this is what Hardy-Weinberg principle. Most of the time question asked on this. Now this Hardy-Weinberg principle is there, it will be remain same, but when there are some of the conditions, this will be true if the population size is large, This is the condition. It should be there. There is a random mating occurring, right? Not in the same species. Then no mutation takes place in that population. Then no genes are introduced or lost. Means immigration, migration should not be there, and no selection occurs from that population. This, if it is there, this if it is applicable in the population, this thing happens in the population, then this means all genotypes can survive and reproduce equally well, and that's why, because of these things, then that population will follow Hardy-Weinberg's principle, that is p square plus 2pq plus q square is equal to 1. But these are the conditions. It should be there, then and then only the Hardy-Weinberg's principle will be followed. These conditions will also be asked in the exam, right? So prepare these 6 points are there. 3 marks question will be asked on it. Now see, this is bottleneck phenomenon. It is said to study the any population. This is the parent population. Now in this, suppose this is the amount of population, it is migrated in any other place, right? So in this migrating population is there. This will further go on reproducing and have a population after couple of generations, means 4-5 generations, right? Then after this, again if you will pass a time, and after a long time if you will see, there will be change in the characteristics in that population. And here you can say that here red color is there, that is one of the character which is dominant over there. Maximum it was there. Here the red character is reduced, purple is increased, and at last here you can say that most of the population or species shows the same character only. So this is after few generation. This is called as founder population after more generation. So this is a founder generation to go on changed, and this new generation is formed. This is what it is called as founder's effect. The generation is formed from founder generation, and this is called as the founder's effect. This is there in your textbook. So understand here very clearly, right? Now see, natural selection on different traits. How the nature selects based on the different traits. So for this graph is given in your textbook. So there are 3 types of graphs are there. One is stabilizing selection, second is directional selection, and third is disruptive selection. So try to understand this figure. This is the original population, right? Now this graph shows that the different characteristics showing in a different number of population. So whatever the here character is there, it is shown by very less number of people, right? As you go from here, the number of people go on increasing for the different characters. At the center you can see there will be a one particular character which is shown by maximum number of species in that population. Again these other characteristics are there, the number of species will be reduced. So that's why this dome shaped graph is there. Now we will see this population, how it will be evolved, how this will be selected by the nature. Now the first type is there, that is called as the stabilizing selection. Now in this stabilizing selection, what happened? Nature select one of the character from that population, and that one character will be shown by maximum number of people. This will go on increasing. So that maximum number of people will show the one character. So the graph will become steeper and steeper. And the low number of species are there which are showing the variations in the characteristics, they will be cut. So if you will observe here the first graph, so in that these base is broad, but when it becoming stabilizing, this base will be shortened and the tip will be increased. So this shows that there is a stabilizing selection. Second one is that directional selection. Now in this, if you will see, suppose this is the main character which is shown by the number of people, right? Now suppose after some time, here one of the characteristics, suppose this is a blue color of eye, and this blue color of eye, slowly maximum number of people are developing this character, showing this character, then this peak is there, it will be shifted in this direction. So slowly this peak shifts in this direction, or if this side character is selected by the species, then this peak will shift in that direction. So that's why it is called as a directional selection. You can see here the arrow is shown, and according to the number of species selected this characteristic, so the tip of this peak is come to this side. That's why it is a directional selection, directed towards one particular side. Next is that disruptive selection. Disruptive means it is spread, distributed. Now you can see here one of the, in this main population, if you will see, suppose here it is of a blue color eyes, and here it is of a gray color eyes, and suppose these and these two characteristics are there shown by 50% people or near about that number, then you will get in the one population's graph two peaks, right? So majority of the people will show these two characteristics. So your graph will come with the two peaks, right? So that's why this is called as the disruptive selection. So this is how the nature select the character of the people or the species. Based on that, you will have the three types of selection. One is stabilizing selection, second directional selection, and third one is a disruptive selection. Based on this, 3 marks question will be asked. Either you have to explain that and with the definition, or the graph will be given and you have to identify that graph, which type of selection this graph shows. If this is their disruptive, this is their directional, and if this is their then stabilizing selection. See here example of a directional selection. This was the earlier population's graph, and this is related with the body size. Majority of these species shows this characteristics, and at that time the height of that organism is this much small. So this is an example of equus horse, right? So this is the earlier species of the horse, which is of only dog size. Height is of a dog size. It is called as Hyracotherium, right? So this Hyracotherium species is there. It is very small, of a dog size height. So maximum number of species is of showing this much height, right? Then after time period, number of individuals has increased to its height. Means the height was here, right? Medium, increased height is there. This is the number of species which were showing this much of size, but in this graph their number is very less. Now the so many species has shown this much height. So you can see here the color change in the graph. This is the dark color showing this height. So this is the graph for body size. Then this graph is there, light, little bit light. Here you can see majority of that graph area is covered with this brown color, and these all species showing this much height, and the name of species is Merychippus, right? So they are showing little bit heighted than the Hyracotherium, right? Now you can see here, this is the number of species which are showing greater height, right? Very less number. Now as the time passes, after more time, number of species with these characteristics is increased in this population, so this peak shifted from here to here and then from here to in this area, right? So majority of the species shows them this equals height, and that's why the graph is shifted this side. So in this way, this is example clearly explains you how the directional selection takes place in the population with the example of aqueous, right? So is it clear? Good. Now see here, very important point. 3 marks question will be asked in the board. So prepare well and all the best.